Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sandwich Commission. This is the meeting. This meeting will be recorded and provided to Sandwich Community TV for future viewing. Let's call the meeting to order. Today is August 18th, 5 p.m. Is being held remotely in accordance with state laws and regulations. Most recently, Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, Section 20 of Chapter 20 of the Acts 2021. It will be available on demand on the Sandwich Community TV website. And we'll start off this afternoon with a roll call. Meg Keegan.
Here.
Tom Jellison. Don't see him just yet. Joanne Levers.
Here.
Lisa Judelson.
Here.
Joseph Sonia, it's myself. I am here. Alexander Beaudry. I think she's on yet. She's right. And Shauna DeSanti. I don't believe she's here either. See her. Kelly Trafasso.
Here.
And Janine Cullen.
Here.
All right, that is the 6 that we need for
All right.
quorum.
Should we do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I was just going to go down the agenda and we will. The Pledge of Allegiance is up next.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Even though
Lisa?
Dom didn't have his flag.
Didn't have his flag. I know. Next on the agenda, we typically do approval of minutes for July.
Can we skip to Chief Burke and Ian like we did last time?
Yes, we'll let them go and get out of here when they're done.
Okay.
Chief Burke, do you want to go ahead and get started?
Sure, thank you. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me again. So as you know, we did the mass notification test, and we included some of you in that as kind of a beta group. We got some decent feedback. I'm going to give everybody the opportunity that received the message that's on the meeting here to provide feedback. But we did meet with the company today. They're going to be upgrading our platform. A couple things that I didn't like was it took me a little while to get the message out. There was some of the message was cut off on voicemail for one of them. I thought the email was fine. The text message was okay, but the caller ID, which is probably the most important thing of the whole testing process, came up with an 859 number. It was one of their corporate numbers and not the fire department number, which that's how we wanted to appear in people's phones. So we were able to address that. That's been taken care of. The new platform is going to get loaded up September 2nd. The TTY element worked. The multi-language worked. But this new platform is going to enable us to be able to send messages out much quicker and cleaner. So the plan is we're going to get the platform uploaded probably mid to late September, which is Emergency Preparedness Month. We're going to do another test of the system with our beta group. And once we feel comfortable with that, we should be off and running. So I appreciate those that participated. I appreciate those that provided feedback. And if there's any other feedback, we'll open that up now and I will make sure I record it.
This is Lisa, Chief Burke, and the only thing I would agree with the caller ID number. I think that on my home phone it said Town of Sandwich, but on my cell phone it said unknown caller with the area code that was unfamiliar. So I think a lot of people would not check that.
And that's where we tried to change it on the fly. Some people got a second call, and we were able to do the adjustment with the new platform. It's built in, so we shouldn't have to go in and change a number before we send a message out. It should be part of the base package we talked about today. So that was one of the things that I had noted also. So I appreciate that. Like I said, that feedback, and I would say in another 30 days we'll be ready for a test on the new platform, and we'll make sure it's up to par with what we need.
Yeah, I think that with all the scam stuff going around too, there's probably an opportunity to send out like a save this number type thing. So that, because there are people that have like contacts only turned on to receive things. Mine came up as Sean Gilrain. I was like, what is he calling me for? And that's what it was. So I think how it's saved in the contacts is important. So to, that can be as easy as touch the contact save. That could be something that the Council on Aging can work with the older people with, that type of stuff. I'm sure you could find volunteers that that could help you teach people how to do that. So that was my only thing, is that at first, like, I was like, who is this? I'm not answering this. And then I was like, oh wait, it's that time, and didn't realize it. But that's my first instinct, and I teach people a lot of that. So that's gonna happen.
Yeah, it defeats the purpose if the right number is not coming up on the caller ID, and that's what we reiterated to the company, and it shouldn't be on the fly changing. It should be built into the base, which is what they're doing. So I feel good. Again, I appreciate everybody participating. We're gonna again in about 30 days. I'll give people a heads up. We'll try it again, and then we should be in good shape with that moving forward.
Great, thank you very much.
Yeah, I really appreciate you including us and always keeping us in the loop. It really means a lot to the disability community that you do that and come here on a regular basis. We're very thankful for that. Thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. And guys, have a good rest of the meeting. And as always, if you need anything, please reach out.
All right. And so next on the agenda, we have Ian to talk about the variance with the Waldorf School.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Ian.
So just to give you an update on the variance situation with the Waldorf, I think everyone knows that they were granted the variance. I know there was a couple of questions about the plans that were submitted to the Architectural Access Board. I did reach out to Molly Griffin, who is the program coordinator, I believe, with the Architectural Access Board, and she provided all the documents for the variance, and they complied with what they submitted to the building department. So after reviewing there was a few slight changes regarding building code, but once it was all reviewed, I assessed the fee last week, and they paid it, and I issued it this morning. So that's where we stand on that.
I did apply for a what is it called? An appeal. Under the direction of some advisors. So I have a couple of questions, Ian. As the ADA coordinator, how in this instance did you advocate for access?
The variance, I wasn't involved in they did their own variance, and it was the Architecture Access Board that makes that decision.
So how did you as ADA coordinator help advocate for access?
I'm not quite sure. I think we had a meeting the last time, and I spoke about the requirement for the lift for the
Right. So I think as building commissioner, you've done a great job and followed everything. But as ADA coordinator that advocates for people with disabilities and access, the people agreed that they would get a time variance. They didn't. I don't know. Of course, when you don't have to put in anything at all, and you don't have to spend that money, they're going to go with that option. But as ADA coordinator, is it your job to advocate for access?
I think that's a bit of a loaded question, Megan, to be honest, and I'm not comfortable answering. I think you're going down a pathway that I'm not comfortable answering.
Okay, thank you.
Did we want to discuss the possibility, and you and I had touched on having like a procedure for people to apply for variance and how that goes with the architectural board in terms of notification, and like the procedure part. We had touched on that.
Yeah, I think I've spoken to you and Meg about this. The procedure is the same as I haven't changed anything from the previous commissioner. I will be reviewing it and making some recommendations or, if needed, some changes. But as of yet, I think there's been some correspondence from the Architectural Access Board, and I'm going to review all that and make a decision at a later date.
Okay, but they will, so but the procedure is a person applies for a variance and it goes to you or it goes to the architectural board?
Variance goes to the Architectural Access Board.
Okay, and then they get in touch with your office?
They I believe they would notify the commission. There was an email from William Joyce, who was the director, I believe, and it was outlined in his email pretty much what was requested. I believe they sent an email to the Commission on Disability as well.
Okay, so the way it should work is, so somebody applies for a variance, it goes to the architectural board, and then the architectural board emails the Commission on Disability and your office, and then you would come and discuss it with us going forward. That's the plan.
Yeah, once I review it all, I'll get a better understanding of it. That's my understanding of it right now. It's the same as what was in place with the previous commissioner.
Okay, then you would come talk to us, and then we would issue a letter in support or against the variance before.
So
What?
can I just make a clarification real quick before we go too far down here?
Sure.
So, who is the first person that's notified before? Let me ask this: how does the applicant know that they need to apply for a variance?
So I as I said, I have, there's a procedure in place and I haven't reviewed it. I thought I was just here to speak about the variance that was issued in the building permit. So I'm not in a position to talk about procedures and policies right now.
So
Okay.
you don't know the policy for a
I didn't say that. I didn't say I didn't know. I'm just not in a position to. I didn't realize this was part of what
No, it was just it had been on our agenda from last time to just talk about, like, moving forward, what, like, so that we could prepare how to expect our expectations of what would happen, and if how the architectural board would notify. And so maybe
if you want to at the next meeting, I can.
when the variance process comes up again,
yeah,
we know what's expected from us, and we can be better prepared, because this one didn't feel like it went so smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you want to definitely want to invite me to talk about that at the next meeting, but as I said, my belief was that I was just here to talk about the variance and when it was issued and the update on the Waldorf.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. If you wouldn't mind coming next time, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And Ian, just another question: is the grievance procedure, which is required to be posted, where is it posted?
Everything is in place, the same as what was at the previous commissioner, and I believe it's on the website.
So that's the 2016 version that
I'm not aware. Again, I'm not here to talk about anything that I'm not aware that wasn't notified beforehand. And you're welcome to ask me to come back to talk about these things.
You got it.
All right.
So Ian, it's Kelly. I got a quick question. So
Sure.
Basically now it stands, they just have the variance and don't have to put in the lift, and that's it?
Yeah, well, the Architectural Access Board granted that, and they met all the requirements for the building code, and I issued the permit this morning.
Okay.
All righty.
And you'll be notified of the appeal by them?
Again, I'll be notified. I'm sure I will be.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And I just had a
Thank
question
you.
for kind of us in general. I don't know if Ian, no, he doesn't, that's fine. My question for us as a commission is what is the timeline? Because we got the notification like in June and we reviewed it at our next meeting. Does anyone know how we would go about adding an additional meeting so we can go over that in a time period so that we can get the notification out to the board quicker? I don't know if anyone's familiar with the requirements there.
That's part of the question that I was working towards with Ian, and just around the procedure of the timeline of when things are notified and then him coming to review it. Like, he didn't get notification either. They got notification of their architectural board meeting. And he did not get that in a timely fashion either. So I feel like it was messy all the way around. I don't think that's how it's supposed to happen, which is why I was asking about procedures for how it's supposed to go and what we could expect. And so maybe we can ask him more definitively next month.
So William
just so we can-
clarified what Joe is asking in his email, which I think you guys all got. Which is that if we, so say it comes to us late, like it did. What we can do is we can notify the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board and say, hey, we need more time for a response. And then they won't revisit it until they get our response. Like we make a timeline. But that's how that works. That's what you're asking, Joe, is right? Like, do we need to make an additional meeting? Like, how do we get it to them on time? Because it's month to month. Is that correct?
Well, even a step beyond that, what is the timeline? And were they in compliance with the timeline? Because we did it with our next meeting within a month, and I sent the letter within a few weeks of that before our next meeting. I thought was appropriate timing. It would be nice to understand what is the timing? What do we need to comply with? So we know whether we need to say we need more time or not. Because we don't know what the deadlines are. We can't provide a response, nor can we ask for an extension if we don't understand.
Yeah, and I think that this is that's something that I brought up with the Architectural Access Board. I asked them to work with us to have a better understanding of that, and they have not had that at this time. So I think that I sent him a draft of what I understand the procedure to be according to what it was before. And he said that he would review that. He just didn't want to talk about it today because he told me that. So, I mean, I don't know what to do beyond that because I mean, our grievance that's up is from 2016. The Commission on Disability has been asking before Brendan retired to have that updated, and it hasn't been. So, I mean, this is just, a pattern of behavior. Shane?
Hey, guys, the other thing to keep in mind with a lot of these permits and applications like that is that there are, on some of these, there are statutory requirements where they have to give a decision by a certain date, or you fall into a category of, approval by default type thing. Where if a decision is not rendered within 30 days of application, like a zoning board of appeal, you have to have a decision within 65 calendar days or a sign off on an extension, based on the applicant. So a lot of these things that, notification and whatnot, some of it might be tied, regulatorily, where if you don't get back to them, like they won't extend it because there has to be a statutory deadline on some of these things. And
Right.
most of them are less than 60 days. Like, 65 days for a zoning board of appeals is one of the lengthier ones. And then there's a statutory established appeal period of typically not more than 20 days past the decision.
Right. But the thing gets in, the first place that this appears is at the building commissioner's desk. Is that correct? So
It depends it depends on which board it hits. It doesn't necessarily always hit the building commissioner's desk, depending on what board it's going through. I believe that they asked.
Could you help us? Could you have those boards coordinate with us to make sure that if that happens,
I'll
that
have
they
to
let
ask
us know?
if there's a statutory, because I think a lot of this is going to come down to what Mass General laws and what the statutory requirements are for it.
Right, which is what AAB, the Massachusetts General Law is what AAB enforces. So
Correct.
you are right, and it is in there, and it is part of that, one of those laws.
Has anybody called the board number from in Boston?
The Massachusetts Architectural Access Board?
Yes.
Yes, they have replied.
And
Molly Griffin, who is like their administrative assistant, has been working with Ian.
okay. Just curious. Yeah, because there's a lot of information when you pull it up under Mass General laws.
Right, but there's the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board. So, for example, if there wanted to, the the Building Code Board of Appeals could approve something, and then the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board can actually override what the Building Code of a Board of Appeals if it's an accessibility issue. So
Right.
I'd
Got
be surprised if there was anything that would bypass accessibility. That would shock me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to take a look at it if there is. Are you aware of something specifically, Shane?
I'm just, because, in thinking this out loud as you're talking, I was thinking, some of this, like we get back to the same thing like a couple of years ago where it was, advisory board versus mandatory, like that's where I think this is going to fall is like, if you guys raise your hand as a, quote unquote advisory board, but then, somebody in the town that's like a mandated reporter type thing. Advisory board is not necessarily like a mandated board. You know what I mean? So I'd have to look into that a little bit to figure out,
Yeah.
where the who the onus falls on.
Yeah, the best thing about being an advisory board that the decisions that are made don't fall on us. They fall on the other people and they
Right.
become accountable.
Right.
So we can advise whatever, but if nobody takes that advisement, that can
Correct.
be troublesome.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that, Shane. I think that's helpful to understand the timelines may not be flexible, and we need to make sure that we understand how to start a meeting sooner so that we can address these in a more timely fashion.
I would almost, jokingly like beer bet that, or coffee bet, whatever, that there are statutory requirements on all these things because it's like, it's not fair to the applicant. Like I deal with this every day. So it's like, you have 14 days, 30 days, 20 days, they have very clear, specific timelines unless the applicant is willing to give up the timeline. So they have a specific form, like on the zoning board of appeals, there's a specific form after the first hearing where they say this is going to exceed the 65 days. Are you okay with that? And, sometimes the applicant will say, oh yeah, I'm fine going past that. But other times they say, no, I need this answer, immediately, kind of thing. Or if they know they have the votes in the room, they'll ask for a vote right there, that kind of thing.
And then it just kind of like the Building Code Board of Appeals, they can have a vote there and now, but it can be overridden by the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board. It can't be overridden by the Commission on Disability, obviously, because we're just an advisory board. But
Right.
but they that just because they ask for a decision, just like the Building Code Board of Appeals can have a decision, but the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board can override that. So they can have their decision, but if we get our decision to the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, which is what is our requirement to do and what the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board requires of us, right? Then it doesn't matter if there's some statutory about some other thing, because once it gets to the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, which it will and it has to, they will want us. So if the Building Code Board of Appeals has a 5-day statutory, that's fine. The Massachusetts Architectural Access Board only meets twice a week, and they can override a decision that someone else made. So I'm not sure it's really important what the timeline is for any other thing. I think it would be.
I think those all have to be within the appeal period, though. And for your guys' point of view, I believe that would have to come through, not from the commission on disability, it would have to come through via Ian as the building inspector, as an advisory board.
Yes, so no. Our opinion goes, as Ian stated earlier in this meeting, our opinion goes directly to Massachusetts Architectural Access Board. Ian stated that he has nothing to do with that, just to be clear. So it does not go through, it definitely does not go through the building commissioner. It actually goes through the ADA coordinator, which, as you probably know, the responsibility and role of the ADA coordinator and the building commissioner can be contradictory. So sometimes when the ADA coordinator and the building commissioner are the same people, sometimes they have to violate their role as the ADA coordinator in order to do their building commissioner job, and they have to violate their building commissioner job to do their ADA coordinator job, which came up in the past. And I think Brendan made it very clear that he has a legal obligation to follow the ADA, which again is why MAB would trump any of the other decisions that were made. Just saying. So I'm not really sure it matters, Joe, if a zoning board of appeals makes the opposite decision, as long as our recommendation goes to the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, who can override those things because it supersedes, the Building Code Board of Appeals. As long as our answer gets to them before them, and they have told us that if they need time or we need time, we can ask them. They could say no, and that would just be what it is.
But Meg, when we did write a letter and we have the email that says they received it, but then they did not acknowledge it
They
during
did not read it. That
the
is,
hearing.
yes, they didn't know that had come. The one person didn't know that spoke.
Right.
So that's another thing, and why we were asking to work with them, because why filing an appeal, because they didn't have the information. They didn't know how we voted or why we voted. And it's really important. I think this also needs to be in our guidelines, that we are very clear about why we're not, because one of the things that the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board expressed back to on this issue was that they do not know what happens at a Commission on Disability meeting unless we tell them exactly what happens.
So the letter needs to be more explicit.
Very explicit, yes.
And forgive me on this, can you just back up for a second? So are you guys filing an appeal yourselves as the Commission on Disability? Are you?
No, I am as a private citizen.
Say that again?
I am as a private citizen.
And you're filing the appeal as a private citizen?
Correct.
Okay, so it's not coming from the town then?
No,
It's not from the commission.
Yep, nope. Because we're only an advisory board,
Right, okay.
letting the commission know that there's an appeal filed is important information for the commission, and that's why it was stated here. And important for the ADA coordinator and building commissioner.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because I wanted to just make that differentiation, just because it sounded like I was taking it as you guys were filing the appeal yourselves as a board. Okay.
Which we couldn't do, right, if we wanted.
Correct.
And not.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, basically the Commission on Disability is intra-sandwich only, not external to sandwich.
The Commission on Disability could advise that they could actually advise for the ADA coordinator or the building commissioner to do that. But again, it's only that's the other thing.
Right, that's all inside sandwich. It's not like communications leaving sandwich. Right. Okay. Yep.
But as a private citizen, we can file anything and bring that information here.
Correct. Yep.
In most towns, is the ADA coordinator also the building, inspector? Like, is that normally the same role?
No, so it's actually the Massachusetts Office on Disability actually says that's a huge no-no, because there is a conflict of interest. So as the building commissioner, he may want to put through having the building commissioner doesn't care about access, right? It's not that, well, I shouldn't say he doesn't care, but he has no obligation to push for access except to follow the law. And so what becomes the conflict of interest is if, like in our case, they agree that they will put in the lift, and then the ADA coordinator or the building commissioner, if they're the same person, if they take on the building commissioner role, they're not going to advocate for access. If they're taking on the ADA role, which is their job, which conflicts with the building commissioner, then that becomes a conflict of interest. And so I think that has been apparent because the ADA coordinator's job is to advocate for access, and Ian hasn't done that in this case.
So who normally holds that title? Like, if it's not the building person?
So in Barnstable, it's the HR director, but Shane and his board get to decide who that is. And so I did ask for Ian's contract to see if it's written in as ADA coordinator. But Shane could change that if we wanted to advise him to find someone else that didn't have a conflict of interest.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we can certainly look into that. Yeah, I think that the other thing to keep in mind with, like the building inspector and their role is that, statutorily, again, a lot of their decisions are bound, by law. Like when Ian goes into a job site or any, building inspector, even Steve, the assistant, when they go into these job sites or they look at the application, the question, the overwhelming question really is, did they meet the minimum standard?
Right.
And then they're mandated. So even if it's a bad design, bad idea, bad everything, as long as they met the minimum standard, including safety standards or accessibility standards, they are bound legally to issue the permit based on that they met all the minimum requirements.
And that is
anywhere.
That is the exact reason why they have that not be the ADA person, because the ADA person needs to advocate for the right design, the most accessible. And so if you have a building commissioner that is only going to do the minimum, then he's acting as a building commissioner and not an ADA coordinator. And if he feels like that's a conflict of interest, that should be looked into, because that could put the town in a really bad position.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions about the Waldorf variance topic that we were on? Joe, can you put Ian on for next month to come back?
Sure.
Thank you.
Note on that.
Okay. All right. What is our next item?
We want to continue down the agenda, or do we want to jump?
We should do the minutes.
Minutes.
Yep, go back and do the minutes.
So we're gonna do a roll call vote for approval of the July minutes. All right. Megan Keegan,
Abstain.
Tom Jellison,
Yes.
and just for the recording, Tom did join at about 5:15. I saw.
Yes.
So, and Joanne Letters,
Yes.
Lisa Gittleson,
Yes.
there's a silence myself. I vote yes. Alexander Beaudry is not on. Julie Wright, Shonda DeSanti, both are not on. Billy Trapasso,
Yes.
Jean Cullen.
Yes.
That's 6 yeses. So that moves to approved minutes. Thank you. Bringing it back down to the agenda. The next item was the sample documents for those processes that we were talking about.
Do we want to hold those until, did those get emailed to everyone?
I didn't
Sure.
get them.
I don't think I did either, but maybe if we're going to talk about them next time with Ian, maybe I'll take a look at them before that meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be great to see them in advance.
Okay.
Shane, can you take a look at those too? Because I don't know if you need to do them as approval. But it is required by law to have a valid grievance procedure. You may want to look at that with Ian prior to the next meeting to make sure we have that done so we're not in violation.
Sure.
Because that one's from 2016, is that?
Yes, it tells them to reach out to Brendan at the old email address and to go to 16 Jan Sebastian for a variance. I mean, not a variance, grievance.
So that would not take it's the form itself is fine. It's just the information is outdated.
Yes, and there's very specific requirements. I don't believe that it can just be on the website, but there's very specific requirements for notifications like that. So,
And where
I
is
think
the list of the requirements? Is it with MOG?
yes, but I believe I'm in contact with someone that can give those to me because they let me know.
Okay, great. Maybe that would be helpful for Shane and Ian as well. I mean, that should, if it's just part of the whole package.
Sure.
Great.
Yep, that'd be great.
Next item, I think you had it on the agenda a couple times, potential committee handbook for us to generate. I think we originally called it bylaws, but realized that we couldn't have bylaws, and so we came up with the idea of a handbook.
No, I think what's on the agenda is the town's handbook. That's not accessible because they used OCR. It wasn't natively made.
Okay.
I actually talked with Taylor about it this morning, and because it was done as a Word document and then put into a PDF and then done with OCR, when I got it, I talked with their office. I was able to figure out what it was all doing, but it didn't flow. It's not a document that flows easily, and it's long, and it's Meg noticed again when she because she's been using VoiceOver. When is it because when you re-upped for your position, you got the document and then you looked at it, and
Yep.
it is not because it wasn't. I don't know if it was copy and pasted from multiple documents. It's visually it looks fine, but when you're reading it with VoiceOver, it is not smooth at all. And so we talked about that in the context of a larger conversation, and so there was not necessarily resolution around that. But
Hey, Joe, you had put out a resource for all of us as an accessibility checker for Word. If it was natively made in Word, they should be able to use that. Is that correct?
Correct. I use it on the town account that's provided to the Commission on Accessibility for all agendas.
Would you be willing to share that with Shane and Taylor?
Absolutely.
Shane, would you be able to look at that with Taylor to see if the document was natively made in Word, that you can check it for accessibility and repost a version that is more accessible, that is equitably accessible, I guess I would say.
I was just in town hall this morning. I think that they're looking at doing it because I believe it, as long as it's just saved as OCR, right, then it's accessible.
No, that's not correct.
No, okay.
The problem comes when you start converting. So when you use Word or any other word processor, when you use the native accessibility features within it, it does a pretty good job of maintaining accessibility. When you start exporting into PDF, even with an accessibility checker on, it can miss items. And then I guess my question would be, is it then scanned in? Is that what's causing the primary issue? Is it getting printed and then rescanned with a stamp? Because I know that happens with our agenda.
That's not what's happening with the agenda. I think that I'm not even sure why they OCR'd it if it's in Word. Because if they sent it in Word and did an accessible did an accessible checker, it should be accessible, correct? I don't think it even needs to, a lot of the things that people send in accessible form come in the native Word way. I know sometimes people don't want that because it can be manipulated, I guess. But I don't think that it was scanned in after. So that is not something. The OCR is not necessary for something that's natively made in Word. And when they use OCR, they make it less accessible than it already is. And I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I think the confusion comes from the fact, though, that things weren't accessible and that OCR was the fix to make things accessible. As you know, they're doing OCR on almost everything because in the attempts to make it more accessible. But I think there's just a basic lack of understanding around digital accessibility. I mean, I also share that. Like I was told that it was started at Word and then went to PDF and then OCR, but I can't say for sure because I'm not an expert on how to fix that. And so I know that when things are just natively made accessible from the beginning, that format is the best. But I think there has been an attempt by the town to be more accessible by doing the OCR. But I think it's over.
Yeah,
I just think people don't know when to do it and when not to do it.
yeah, so OCR is similar to if you were to go to a store and your wheelchair couldn't fit through the store. So they would say, hey, here's a wheelchair in our store that fits in our store. We're going to have you get out of your personal wheelchair and go into this other wheelchair and do it. And so while that may be that's okay temporarily, while they're maybe fixing or arranging their store to be accessible, it's not a solution. It's a workaround. And so using OCR is the equivalent of asking someone to get into a different wheelchair to navigate a store. So if you think that's equitably accessible, then I would continue to do that.
So Taylor and I talked about that, the goal, because he talked about the number of documents that are created by the town. And then we talked about, if the documents were created in a way like that was a fix for a while, but now I feel like the technology and updates it makes it possible that things can be created in an accessible way originally, which would eliminate people having to run checks on it and do the OCR and all the other things if it could just be accessible from the beginning.
Yeah, and when I hear the Word document and OCR, I get very confused because if you have a Word document, it can be made natively accessible, and there's absolutely no need for the extra effort to use OCR on an already accessible document. So, like, I agree with you, Lisa, that I think there's a misunderstanding about OCR is an accessibility maker. It's not. It actually is doing the opposite. In the town, when you use a Word document and then put it in PDF and OCR it, you're making it less accessible, not more accessible.
But if the Word document can be manipulated, perhaps that will be a barrier for why people would want to use it. Is that true?
Yep. But what Joe stated, which is true, is that you can take the Word document and you can make it into a PDF. You can run an accessibility checker after that and fix a couple of things that might be wrong. But I think you can you can go from Word to PDF and skip OCR and it will be more accessible. So I don't know why OCR keeps coming into the picture. Because
I think it was just a learned attempt to make things more accessible. I just think it's a misunderstanding about what the best way to do it is.
Yeah,
Well, it would also,
go ahead.
it would depend on how it is being converted to PDF. If somebody's just using an Adobe printer or the Microsoft printer, it's not going to be accessible and OCR will be required. Using proper exporting, which may mean they need licenses for local Word rather than online Word, which is why I send everything in Word for the most part. So I think I can follow up, Lisa, with you, Shane, and Taylor to try to understand where that pinch point is and see if we can address it, hopefully without any cost and just education, but figure out where that issue is to correct it. But I'll take that one on.
Yeah, I think that's a learned behavior because I think that they were instructed to do that at one point, and that's how it sounded. When I was talking with them today about the website accessibility and the other things in general, but that I think that the OCR step was something that might even have come from the IT department at one point. And they've just been, telling everybody to do that in an attempt to make it accessible for all.
So Shane, can I ask you this? When someone on the commission can't access something, whether that's in a wheelchair or a document, what way would you, like, if we go and we say, hey Taylor, this isn't accessible, can you make it accessible? Like, how would you like us to go about that? Because what's been happening is that we say, hey, this isn't accessible, and then we're told, yes, it is. So the person with a disability can't access it in the way that they need, and then the town says, yes, you can. And I just don't know how to respond to that. Is there a way that you would like the members of the Commission on Disability to do that in a way that when we say that when we request access, that we're given a reasonable accommodation? Or could you give me some heads up on how you'd like to do that?
And is it in something like that, like we'll just like the one that seems like an easier low hanging fruit is the electronic issues. So is that the end user, the person with the disability, has a different software type, or is it something that the town's not doing? Like, because I think the town is following, typically or broadly, like what everybody else in the state is doing, from a 40,000 foot view. I mean, I know they've had people review it and look at it, and
It's a compliance. Compliance is the word that Taylor uses, but
right.
But what is often mentioned, and I just hesitate because I hear you kind of alluding to it, is that there are different kinds of screen readers, and that because I use VoiceOver and somebody else uses JAWS, and people say, well, we can't do every screen reader. But I'm telling you that JAWS and VoiceOver are the ones that everyone uses, and saying that, I feel like when it's said that, they can't make it accessible for every screen reader,
That's BS.
that is, VoiceOver is the standard for it. And if it works for VoiceOver, it works for JAWS. And that is the digital accessibility part. And when I was talking with Taylor today and saying, when I go on the state website, I have no problems. I click on links, I scroll through things, I find out the information I need, no problem. So
And
there
you
is a way to do it.
JAWS, right? Do
What?
you use JAWS, Janine?
No,
No.
I use VoiceOver.
So I've been doing some research on this, and
I did have JAWS though, and when I was using it, that's why I'm using VoiceOver now. I could not access the agenda.
right, because if you're not using the latest, I just did research on this. So if you're using, JAWS is up to what, 24 or 25 version, and so if you're using the 18 version because your computer can't be up to date, then you're not going to be able to access this.
Right.
So, but that is one thing that needs to be looked at. Lisa is on the latest phone with the most up-to-date operating system. I can verify that. And so am I. And so that rules out kind of that issue. The main problem, and this was explained to me recently, is that, so I took something and I exported it as a PDF and I sent it to someone who was blind, and they used their phone, their iPhone, and they were able to access it. And then they sent it to their PC with JAWS, and they weren't able to. And what they explained to me is that I didn't make it accessible, which was true. And so, if something is made accessible, then it will work on all of those. It's the other way around. So if the train of thought is continued that you can't make it accessible for everyone, then you're thinking backwards. So it's to use a building analogy, Shane, it's in the foundation, right? So when you make it natively accessible, the likelihood of it to be accessible for all of everything is more likely, right? Once you go from Word to PDF, you are going to lose some accessibility, and you have to try to fix that as best you can. And there are ways to do that. OCR is not one of those ways. You need to tag things in a different way. And so at least it's not the default way. It's going to actually probably make it less accessible. So at least in the Word to PDF.
Who in the town should be knowing that, should be doing this or knowing this or teaching people, the IT department, right?
That would be the ADA coordinator. It is the ADA coordinator's responsibility. And Ian told me he doesn't know any of that stuff. He's willing to learn, but he doesn't know it. And so
I know that we've hired outside consultants, I think previously, that have gone through some of this, and like, I think that statistically, like what I've heard is that we get like a B or B plus for accessibility in contrast to the other municipalities in the
so
Commonwealth.
what you're talking about is something as that was the what is it? Something for universal design. What was it, Dom?
Yeah.
Who were the
Yeah.
people that did it? So do you know what Moore's Law is, Shane?
No, I am not familiar with that now.
So Moore's Law is that the capacity of technology doubles every year, which is exponential.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
So what was going on in 2018 is old news.
Yeah.
Is no right, and so all the laws have changed. Everything has changed. So you're and the one that you got is not a deep dive and does not look at those things. So if you go off of that and you use that as to defend yourself that you're doing a good job, you're going to be short-sighted. That's not your commission on disability is advising you as a board of selectmen, Shane, that your agendas are not accessible. And if you're looking for an outside consultant, I'm happy to put you in touch with one.
I provided the card of one at the meeting I had with Heather and a bunch of other people from the town, but I don't believe they ever reached out because it is something big. It is something that someone has the knowledge on how to do it. It's not me, and obviously
Not me.
people. Yeah, but I think getting a consultant would be a great idea.
Would you consider that, Shane? What process would you need to go through to get that done?
I think that we're gonna, what I would do is go back and talk to Bud about it, and then I'm sure he's gonna bring in, our current IT people to look at it, and then they're gonna have to narrow down. I mean, if it's a simple fix, that's great. If it's a more elaborate fix, then we're gonna have to find like a funding vehicle for it, and put it in the budget and that kind of thing.
The municipal ADA grant could do that. And actually, the guy that I know and the one that Lisa referred to you already, he actually writes those. He comes in and does an initial assessment and then writes those grants for you, and he knows how to get them done. So
And the reason I recommended him to the town was because he's in Dayton. They use Civic Plus, and he's helped his town get fully accessible. That's why the connection was so great, because his town uses the platform that we have.
And he was able to make their town fully accessible for less than $20,000.
Right. I mean, and that's great. I just, I know that when I've brought it up before about the grants, Sandwich, typically on paper, we don't.
So I did send you the list of the people that got the grants last time. Hingham,
right. Yep.
Martha's Vineyard, right? People that have way more money than us. So that actually, and I reached out to the Massachusetts Office on Disability to see if we were disqualified because of how much, because of those factors. It's not a factor. It's not a factor in deciding. The person that knows all the factors and knows how to write the grants, his name was given to you by Lisa. And so if you want to get that done and get it paid for so that you're not violating the rights of the people in the town, I would do that, because yeah.
Yep. I'll definitely we'll look into it.
So what is the steps that you need to take so that we're clear?
I'm gonna have to talk with Bud about it, tomorrow or Wednesday, and then we can get a game plan together.
Is that something that you would put on the agenda of the Board of Selectmen meeting to discuss and vote in to do?
Depending on what needs to be done, it would either, it's either something that could be handled, in-house, or if it needs to go to the board to make a decision on it, based on dollar figures. Yeah, I would want to know what needs to be done first. Obviously, we have to identify what it is first.
How are you going to identify what needs to be done?
That's something I'm gonna have to go to. We're gonna have to have Bud in the IT department, and if there's an outside consultant or something
Correct.
that needs, that's not my like on my like the board of selectmen. We have one employee, and that's Bud Dunham. Yeah, so we don't go beyond that. So I would have to raise this up to Bud. Bud's gonna have to get it. I'm assuming he's gonna go to our IT
The
person.
only way that you can know officially what needs to be done is to hire an outside consultant. So that I would look at, I can probably have them let you know what that would cost if you would like a figure.
But
Yeah, and I don't, right. I mean, I don't know the procurement rules and all that. Like I said, we're responsible as the board for one person, and then he's responsible for going out to the individual departments that are in charge of that and getting that taken care of.
If can you bring that up at the next Board of Selectmen meeting?
Well, I think it would be more appropriate to have Bud look into it first and then have him get back to us.
After Bud looks at it, can you put it on the agenda either way?
Yeah, I can bring it up with Charlie as well. Yep.
Thank you.
If and that's if it's something that can be handled, without having to go to the board and just have it get done, then that would be, the more appropriate. Once it's identified what needs to be done or what path they need to do to research it. But if it's a decision such as something they can just say we're going to do this, or I can fix this by doing this, and this, or a consultant or whatever it is, then it doesn't need to go to the board. It just gets handled.
What's the threshold for the board? Is there a number figure like there is for the school committee?
No, it just depends on time of year, how much money's left. I forget what Bud. I think Bud is authorized up to a significant amount. Yeah, I'd have to look at exactly what it is, but it's a significant amount. So, but again, he's got to have the money budgeted for a project such as that. So,
Would you like Lisa to pass on that information of who that is to you?
Yeah, if she could send it to me, and if you want to copy Bud as well, that's in reference to this meeting, that would be great.
Okay, I'd be happy to. All right.
Thank you, Shane. I appreciate your help.
No worries.
Okay, is there anything else for that topic? All right, what's next, Joe?
Well, next up, we were going to have a discussion on the National ADA Disability Calendar.
Oh,
I can do that.
Okay, and Julia's not here, but
so I mean, this is so because it's 35 years of the ADA network, national network, I think it is, or one of them. There's different branches. Put out basically like all the holidays along with like things that you can use to post. It's already preloaded. So I know that Julia is not doing the social media anymore, but the town is. So I would like to vote for us to advise the town to use this to post stuff. And then if we want anything specific off the calendar, we could do that generally. But this is a great resource for them so that we don't have to continue to like ask them. They can have access to this. Maybe they can post something. We can advise them to post something like once a month or something.
I think that sounds like exactly what they were asking for, was to have like a list of things ahead of time so they can prepare things and just get them out.
You got it.
I'd like to make a motion that we send that over to the social media posters and request that they post something at least once a month.
If not more. Yes. Second.
All right, let me just restate that so that we make sure we vote properly, and I know what to write later. So it's a motion to recommend the commission submit the National ADA calendar of events to the town social media grouping. And would we be highlighting, would we be picking things in a future meeting? or start with just the sending of the calendar, just so I make sure we're voting correctly?
Don't, I would say that the motion is to send them the information and ask them to post whatever they want once a month. And that we, if there's something particular, we can advise them.
We'll do a roll call vote on that. Oh, coming down the list. Meg Keegan,
Yes.
Tom Jellison,
Yes.
Joanne Lebhart,
Yes.
Lisa Gilson,
Yes.
Sonia, it's myself, yes. Leander Beaudry, she's still absent. Julia Wright, still absent. Shada DeSanti, see her still absent. Kelly Trapasso,
Yes.
okay. Janine Cohen,
Yes.
and that passes unanimously. From a functional standpoint, Meg, could you get me the link to share and I can send it from the commission email?
You got it.
Okay. Passed unanimously. I will take care of that once I get the link, and then
Thank
we
you.
can put that on future agendas anytime. We can have an open item if there's anything anyone in the commission wants to address, then we can vote on it in that meeting to submit to the town.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next item, last item would be the new members who are interested.
And are they both here?
Don is not here. It was kind of
Okay.
last. He said he could come, but it doesn't look like he was able to.
Okay, but Stephanie's here.
Yeah, so Shane, if we have to go to 13, do we have to, how do we do that? Do you know? I don't know that we want to or we're going to, but I'd just like to know logistically. Do we just vote like we did last time to go to 11?
I think so, and I think that not too long ago, I think it was on our agenda. I think within the last 6 months that I think you guys requested that and we approved it. Did we not?
You
Yeah,
did. We
but I
went to
thought-
11.
Did we go to 11 or did we go to 13? Does
No, we
anybody-
went
We
to
went
11.
to 11 back in October 2024.
Yeah, because we didn't want to go too high and not have enough people to meet quorum. So I
Correct.
think we were going to go slow with it. But
So we have 10 right now.
we do.
So,
So if we have Stephanie, that's 11. But I would like to see, before we go to 13, I think we can, since Don's not here, we can take Stephanie. If she would like to be a member, which I'm assuming she does because she's here. And then we can either expand to 12 or we can, I'm not sure if everyone wants to stay on. So we can sort of do like a poll between now and the next time about if we have everyone staying for sure, then we can talk about increasing.
perfect.
Okay.
And while we're on the topic of members, Shane, I have the I don't know what you call it, the list from the town site. And I noticed that you are showing as a Board of Selectmen member expired. I don't know if that just needs to be updated.
That's just how Taylor has to do it. He's not actually a member, but he has
Right.
to put him in the system as a member. So it's just letting Shane's not a member. He's just a Board of Selectmen liaison. And so but in order to have his name on the list, Taylor has to make it as a member. And so that's why it looks like that. So there's no worries there.
So he's not taking up a seat, a voting member seat. Yeah.
Nope.
If I recall correctly, there should be somebody appointed by the board on the commission. Is that not correct?
Yes, that is correct. We should have somebody to on here that works with us to coordinate for us. That doesn't have a conflict of interest on accessibility. Sorry.
So Shane, I don't know exactly what needs to be. It sounds like for your bit in the seat, that's just a quick technical thing, but something to think about is who do you guys want to join us on these if there is somebody you can think of.
I do believe that if you do hire a person that a consultant that they can come to our meetings and consult us as well, which I think is a good idea because they can coordinate. So if you didn't have someone, that the consultant, is probably a good idea for them to come here.
Okay, like I said, I gotta bring that to Bud and have him, hammer that out, what that looks like.
Just to let you know that that has been done previously in other towns that don't have a ADA coordinator or need a consultant because maybe the ADA coordinator is good at building stuff, but not at digital accessibility. So
Okay.
there's a precedent there.
Can we say hi to Stephanie? Stephanie, would you mind introducing yourself and just talk a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Yeah, thank you for having me again. I'm definitely still interested in becoming a member if that's possible. So, a little bit about me. I grew up in Sandwich and I still live there now. I work as a speech language pathologist at several of the skilled nursing facilities in the Upper Cape area and the South Shore as well. And I have 4 kids in the school district right now.
Great. Thanks for coming, and we're so glad for your interest. Thank you very much. And so, I'm forgetting the procedure. Do we nominate or do we just
Nominate Stephanie to become a member of the Commission on Disability.
and we send our recommendation to the Board of Selectmen?
Correct, after we vote, yes.
Okay, I will second that.
Joe, do you want a whole roll call?
Yes, I did a very nice speech of that for everyone while I was muted. So I'm so glad you listened so attentively while I finished that up.
We were waiting.
Oh, Meg, your response was perfectly timed because it was right when I stopped speaking and called your name. So that was wonderful. We'll have a roll call vote on whether to recommend Stephanie for membership of a commission. Meg Keegan,
Yes.
Tom Jellison,
Yes.
Glenn Lepers,
Yes.
Lisa Juleson,
Yes.
Joseph Zaya, that's myself, yes. Amanda Beaudry still looks absent. Julia Wright still looks absent. Shonda DeSanti still looks absent. Kelly Chapasso,
Yes.
Ian Cullen.
Yes, welcome, Stephanie.
Motion passes unanimously. I will send out an email when this is over recommending Stephanie for the commission.
Yeah, I'll give you. Do you want me to send you the template? I mean, it's like we recommend first name, last name that lives at this address. So, Stephanie, you could just send in your address to the commission for that. And then you don't have to be at the Board of Selectmen meeting to get voted in, but they will let you know which agenda they are on, which agenda you are on if you want to go, but you're not required.
And then you'll need to go down and be sworn in by Taylor in person, and you'll get the handbook, and you can't vote until you do that.
Great. Shane, when's your next meeting?
I was talking to myself. It's this Thursday, and then I believe the next one's 2 weeks after that.
Okay, so it'll you may or may not be able to get on the next agenda. If you could get that out right away, Joe. I still don't. When does your agenda go out? It goes out tomorrow, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you get it into Lisa, or
first thing today.
yeah, tomorrow, you might be able to get it out. It might be able to get on this week.
Yep. And then just go down to the town clerk's office right away.
Thank you.
Yep.
And yeah, Meg, if you have a template, I will take it.
Yep, I'll send it right now.
Also, Joe, do you have Stephanie's email already?
I'll give you all that info if you want. That I have.
I'll take it. I probably have it, but if it's all in one place, it makes it all easier. So thank you.
No problem.
Are we done with all the other things?
Yes, that was the end of the agenda.
Okay, I do have one other thing. I am going to be stepping down as chairperson. And so what that means, I was talking with Taylor this morning about that, is that we need to reorganize around filling the chairperson position. And so I would like to throw it out there to find out if there's anybody that might be interested, like, Stephanie. I'm kidding. But I would like to see if anyone, I know in July we talked about it, but is there anybody who would be willing to take on the chairperson role?
I would do that.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, so is there any other discussion about anything? Anybody want to say anything?
Yes. Joanne, just quick question. I know we talked about the last meeting at Sandwich Fest, having a table. I told you I have the table, I have the tent on October 5th. But Meg, I mean, you probably have information. We need to have things for the table. I mean, we don't have pamphlets.
Joanne, can you hold that for just 1 second? Because I meant any more discussion about the chairperson position, because we need to do. No, that's okay. I did say any discussion, but I meant about that topic because then we'll need to do a vote. Okay, so I will nominate that Meg be considered for chairperson of the Commission on Disability.
A second.
Okay, so we can go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Well, one moment, let me bring up my list. There it is, roll call vote. Let me just make a copy here. All right, Meg Keegan,
Yes.
Tom Jellison,
Yes.
Brian Lepers,
Yes.
Lisa Judelson,
Yes.
Susanna myself, yes. Alexander Beaudry is absent. Julie Wright's absent. Shauna DeSanti is absent. Kelly Trapasso,
Yes.
Janine Cullen.
Yes.
Passes unanimously.
Congratulations, Meg.
Thanks. You can finish out this meeting.
Okay. So what I would say is that, and Joe, are you interested in staying on as secretary?
I believe it's a 1-year term, so I intend to fulfill my commitment till I think it's next June.
Okay. So we will not reorganize around secretary and vice chair. We can ask Alex next time just to ensure that that's all set and taken care of. And so, Joanne, if you would like to say that, and then I think Janine, did you still have something you wanted to discuss?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do those two things. Go ahead, Joanne.
Okay. So the Sandwich Fest is October 5th. I did reach out to the Chamber of Commerce and just, clarified we could certainly get a spot. I have the tables, I have the tent, but what do we have to put on the table? I mean, we need pamphlets. Obviously we don't have any literature, but a lot of people don't know who we are. They don't.
Jane, how do we go about requesting money for that, since we don't have accessible parking ticket funds?
I believe that you would send a request in to Bud or Heather. Do you know how much money you would be asking for, or what?
Like $100.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a lot.
What day of the week is that?
It's a Sunday.
Okay. And what are the times?
I think it's like 10 to 2, 10 to 3, something like that.
Okay. I have some handouts from my work with the Mass Commission for the Blind around how to interact with someone with vision loss and like do's and don'ts, kind of things like that, that I'd be happy to bring. And I can't 100% say for sure right now if I'm available or not, but happy to come with the guide dog that usually brings people to the table.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
I won't be here. I'll be in Vermont, I believe, that weekend. I think we can get stuff. You might want to go on the Joanne, if you want, go on the MOD website. You can also reach out to Jeff Dugan.
Is he at MOD?
Yeah, he's the COD coordinator.
Yep.
So if you reach out to him, they may be able to provide us with stuff. Maybe we don't need money, but
I'm gonna make a bunch of phone calls, and get, a adult, pediatric, depending on the disabilities. So I have connections, but we just don't have something for us. You know,
Right, yeah, I think MOD would probably has stuff, and then we can just print it, you know? So, do we need to vote to ask for a request? Let's do it just in case.
I would think so. We're talking about money.
Right.
Yes. Motion to request $100 for the Sandwich Fest for a table for Commission on Disability.
Second.
All right, motion heard and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote. Meg Keegan,
Yes.
Tom Jellison,
Yes.
Joanne Levers,
Yes.
Lisa Judelson.
Yes.
Sorry, that's myself, yes. Alexander Beaudry is absent. Julie Wright is absent. Heather Santi is absent. Kelly Trapasso,
Yes.
Janine Cullen,
Yes.
passes unanimously. Break down so I don't forget.
Okay. Joanne, do you have anything else? Is that good for now?
That is good for now.
Okay, maybe people can be thinking about what they would like the table representing us to look like, and if there's anything anybody has to add, and we can talk about it at the September meeting.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Janine, go ahead.
Oh, this is just a courtesy issue, and especially for those of us using voiceover. Group texts, could we try to limit them between, say, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m.? And could we also try not to do them over the weekend? Unless there's some urgent matter that comes up that needs to be addressed right then.
I think that's a fair request. I know I can try to be better about that.
Yeah.
Do we want to vote?
Is that a votable thing, or is that just a
I
request
think
thing?
it's just a point of courtesy that
Yeah, I think
Yes.
it's just a
Yeah.
brought and heard.
Yeah, I do think, it's good to just mention, and sometimes too, if I'm up early and I just shoot off a text, I sometimes forget to check the clock. But I think it is a good practice, generally speaking. And one of the things that I'm not sure that people think about or are aware, when you use voiceover, it will say who the number, or if the person's in a contact, but if they're not, it'll say their phone number, and then it will say and it repeats the number again to say what that person says. And so if it's important information being conveyed, whatever. But sometimes when it's a thumbs up or a smiley face, and there's no content, it's just somebody, or even if somebody's liking something, hearting something, or just do the tag back thing, it ends up sending a whole nother text with all of the phone numbers repeated again all over again, and it's like
It's
you
annoying.
just want to scream and rip your hair out, honestly. And then it's hard to decipher the information amongst all of that extra information coming at you. So I know people love to send the cute emojis and all of that. That would be, but that is hard with the voiceover. It can be
Lisa, would you be
overwhelming.
able to let us know if you were in a position where you didn't want to receive those for some reason, and then we could do something outside of that and include you in later or whatnot?
Sure.
Because I'm sure if it was being disruptive or anything, if we knew at that time, we could pivot and do something different, so we're not continually interrupting, because we may not remember or know. So I would ask
Would you
for.
suggest that, like, I just send something that says, "Hey, can you take me off this for now?" Or the
Yeah.
other thing is, if people are having a conversation between two people, if you do individual texting out of the group text, certainly the group text is amazing for sharing certain information that everybody needs to get, no problem. But if it's back and forth between two people, that is not necessary to everyone, to just remember to do that texting separate.
Yep.
Okay, great.
But let us know so that we don't continue to do it unknowingly.
Yes, sounds like a plan. Janine, does that sound all good?
Yeah, yes, it does.
All right. Very
Fair
good.
enough.
All right. Anything else anybody has? Thank you all for doing this off-schedule meeting. We appreciate it. And so the next meeting will be back to the first Wednesday in September at 5. And we'll see you then.
Joe, did you get my email?
I haven't checked it. Personal or commission?
Personal, I think I sent it to.
I don't have it.
That's okay. Just let me know if you didn't.
Okay, so is the meeting adjourned?
Motion to close the meeting.
Second?
All right.
You don't need
I
to
think
vote.
that's all we need.
Okay,
Correct.
All right.
fantastic. Thank you,
I will end the
everybody.
meeting here on
Thank
Zoom.
you.
All
All right.
right.
Bye.